Fire can save your life. But what if you don't have matches? What if your lighter is gone, wet, or broken? Most people panic in that situation. They assume fire is impossible without modern tools. They assume survival depends on gear. But that assumption is wrong. Right now, you are about to learn something most people never do. In the next few minutes, you will discover 13 real, proven ways to start a fire without matches, without a lighter, and without fancy survival equipment. Some of these methods work with everyday items you already have. Others have been used for thousands of years, long before electricity, fuel, or modern technology existed. By the end of this video, you will know how to make fire when everything else fails. Fire is not just about warmth. Fire is about survival. It allows you to purify water, cook food, signal for help, stay warm, keep predators away, and maintain morale in extreme situations. Throughout history, fire has been the line between life and death. And even today, in a modern world full of convenience, fire remains one of the most important survival skills you can learn. You do not need expensive gear. You do not need professional tools. You need understanding, preparation, and practice. Before learning any fire-starting method, one truth must be clear. Fire does not start with sparks. Fire starts with preparation. The most common reason people fail to start a fire is not because the method is wrong. It is because the tinder is wrong. Good tinder is dry, fine, and ready to catch an ember. Without proper tinder, even the best fire-starting method will fail. Now let's begin with the first method. Method 1 is one of the fastest and most reliable fire-starting techniques available. Using a battery and steel wool. This method works because steel wool is made of extremely fine metal fibers. When electricity flows through those fibers, resistance causes them to heat up instantly. All you need is a battery and fine steel wool. A 9-volt battery works best, but AA or AAA batteries can also work. When the battery terminals touch the steel wool ignites almost immediately. The reaction creates glowing embers and flame within seconds. Once the steel wool starts burning, place it gently into your tinder bundle and blow softly. The ember will spread and turn into flame. This method is incredibly fast and effective. It works well in urban environments, vehicles, emergency kits, and modern survival situations. However, it must be used carefully. Steel wool burns extremely hot, and sparks appear instantly. The second method is using a ferro rod or flint with steel. This is one of the most trusted fire-starting techniques used by campers, bushcrafters, and survival professionals. A ferro rod produces extremely hot sparks when scraped with steel or a sharp rock. These sparks can reach temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. To succeed with this method, tinder preparation is critical. Dry grass, shredded bark, cotton fibers, or char cloth work very well. Instead of striking above the tinder, aim the sparks directly into it. Once the tinder catches an ember, gentle airflow will turn it into flame. This method works in wet weather, cold temperatures, and high altitudes. It is reliable, reusable, and effective in harsh conditions. The third method uses focused sunlight. If the sun is shining, fire is possible. A magnifying glass is the most common tool for this method, but it is not the only option. Camera lenses, binocular lenses, reading glasses, and certain plastic lenses can all focus sunlight by concentrating sunlight into a single point on dry tinder. Heat builds quickly. The tinder begins to smoke, then forms an ember. With patience and steady positioning, that ember can be blown into flame. This method requires direct sunlight and works best during midday. It does not work at night or in heavy cloud cover, but when conditions are right, it is extremely effective. The fourth method is using a fire piston. A fire piston works using rapid air compression. When air is compressed quickly, its temperature increases dramatically. Inside the piston is a small piece of tinder. When the piston is slammed down, the sudden heat ignites the tinder and creates an ember. Fire pistons have been used by indigenous cultures for centuries. This method relies on physics, not chemicals or flame. While fire pistons are not common, they are reliable and impressive tools when used correctly. The fifth method is the bow drill. The bow drill is one of the most iconic primitive fire-starting techniques in human history. It uses friction between a spinning wooden spindle and a fireboard to generate heat. As friction builds, fine black powder called char dust forms and collects in a notch. When enough heat is generated, the char dust turns into a glowing ember. The bow drill requires several components, including a bow, spindle, fireboard, socket, and cordage. It also requires proper technique and practice. Many people fail at first because bow drill firemaking is about precision, not strength. Once mastered, the bow drill becomes a reliable way to create fire using only natural materials. The sixth method is the hand drill. The hand drill is even more primitive than the bow drill. Instead of using a bow, the spindle is spun between the hands. This requires proper wood selection, technique, and endurance. Softwoods work best for this method, and dry conditions are essential. The hand drill demands patience and practice, but it proves that fire can be created with nothing more than sticks and determination. The seventh method is the fire plow. The fire plow is an ancient fire-starting technique, traditionally used in tropical regions. It involves rubbing a hardwood stick back and forth along a groove carved into a softer wood base. As friction builds, heat forms at the end of the groove. Eventually, an ember develops and can be transferred into tinder. This method requires rhythm, pressure, and consistency rather than speed. The fire plow shows that fire can be made through friction alone, without spinning or drilling. The eighth method is the fire saw. The fire saw uses a sawing motion instead of rubbing or spinning. A flexible piece of wood or bamboo is sawed rapidly across another piece of wood. The friction builds heat until an ember forms. This method is particularly effective with bamboo and has been used traditionally in parts of Asia and island cultures. The ninth method involves chemical reactions. Certain chemical combinations create heat intense enough to ignite fire. While effective, these methods are dangerous if used incorrectly. They require specific knowledge and caution. Chemical fire starting should only be considered in extreme survival situations by those who understand the risks. The 10th method uses rocks that create sparks. Certain stones such as quartz, flint, and chert can produce sparks when struck against steel. These sparks can ignite fine tinder just like a ferro rod. This method was used long before modern fire-starting tools existed and remains effective today. Learning to identify the right rocks and strike them properly is key to success. The 11th method uses a soda can and chocolate. This method works through physics and reflection. The bottom of a soda can be polished using chocolate or toothpaste until it becomes highly reflective. Once polished, the curved surface acts like a parabolic mirror. Sunlight reflects and focuses onto a single point on tinder, generating heat and creating an ember. This technique requires patience and sunlight, but it proves that everyday objects can become survival tools. The 12th method involves gunpowder. Gunpowder burns rapidly and intensely. While it can be used to start a fire, it is extremely dangerous if misused. This method should be understood for awareness only and not used casually. The 13th method uses a car battery and jumper cables. In a vehicle survival situation, a car battery can generate sparks. Brief contact between jumper cable clamps near tinder can produce ignition. This method must be done carefully to avoid injury or damage. Now let's talk about tinder. Tinder is the foundation of every fire. Without good tinder, fire will fail regardless of the method used. Good tinder must be dry, fine, and capable of catching an ember easily. Natural tinder includes dry grass, shredded bark, pine needles, seed heads, and tree resins. Birch bark is especially effective due to its natural oils. Man-made tinder includes cotton, dryer lint, paper, fibers, and cloth. Preparing your tinder before attempting fire is essential. Fire is not just a skill. Fire is confidence. Fire is preparation. Fire is independence. You do not need expensive gear to survive. You need knowledge and practice. Pick 2 or 3 methods from this list and practice them in safe conditions. Build confidence before you ever need fire in an emergency. Fire connects us to our ancestors. It reminds us that survival is not about technology alone. It is about understanding the world and working with it. When everything fails, fire is still possible. And now a message for you. If you found this video valuable, don't just watch it and forget it. Knowledge only matters if you keep it. Hit the like button so this information reaches more people who need it. Subscribe to the channel for more survival skills, bushcraft knowledge, and real-world preparedness. And most importantly, leave a comment below. Tell us which fire-starting method surprised you the most, or which one you want to practice first. Because one day, this knowledge might not just be interesting, it might save your life. Stay prepared, stay capable, and I'll see you in the next one. Fire.